Hey there, you're watching Bare Knuckle Binder. Welcome to the channel. I've made quite a bit of content on YouTube about Coleman axles, specifically internationals with Coleman conversions. Today I'm going to show you how to do some routine maintenance that applies to any Coleman axle, and a quick crash course on how it works. However, I'm only going to talk through how it works. If you're more of a visual learner or you're interested to see more of how these work, I've made several videos, and so I tagged some useful videos in the video description. The Coleman axle is unlike any other steerable driving axle in that it has solid axle shafts. There's no knuckle, there's no U-joint. Two pairs of heavy pins riding on oil-light bushings mounted on a perpendicular axis anchor a yoke and ring in between the axle shaft and the wheel hub. The wheel hub assembly is mounted to the axle housing on two pivot bearings that are on a vertical axis. Come here. You okay? With this configuration, the wheel can pivot on the axle shaft while never leaving the center of traction. This allows for steering while transferring power. On top of that, the wheel has optimal traction at all times and can handle an incredible amount of torque. The only alignment adjustment on a Coleman axle is a toe-in from 0 to 1/8 of an inch. There is no camber, meaning the wheels are straight up and down. This is fixed in the axle's design. Now the service manual calls for the pivot bearings to be greased every 1,000 miles. And every 2,500 miles, you should check the pivot bearings for slop and tighten them if necessary. However, I find that whenever I grease the pivot bearings, it's pretty good practice just to check them then. So you get two birds stoned at once. And plus, it's really not something you can really check too much. So now I'm just gonna walk you through how to grease the pivot bearings and to make sure they're tight. All right, so the first step is to jack up the front axle, and one side at a time is fine. So once the truck is jacked up, you turn the wheel towards the side you're checking. So I'm doing the left side first, so I'm turning it to the left. Now with the wheel turned to the left, you'll see there's two grease zerks now exposed once I clean them off. One for the upper pivot bearing and one for the lower pivot bearing. I'll wait to grease these until after I check the bearing tightness. But this bolt here is the key to tightening the pivot bearings. To test the tightness of the pivot bearings, you grab the jacked up wheel and see if there's any play by rocking it vertically. You can see here there is some play in this wheel. It's easier to see in this shot. All right, so I found some slop in it, so I had to come around to the back side here again. And that is the bearing preload or bearing tightness bolt, whatever you want to call it. Now behind that bolt is a wedge. Now the wedge on the other side of this goes between a bearing spacer that goes around the spindle and the pivot bearings. So when you drive the wedge in, it pushes down on those pivot bearings and tightens them. So the intuitive thing would be to tighten this thing and press that wedge forward, but you don't do that. The proper way to do it is to remove that bolt and put a punch in there and drive the wedge with a punch. Now this is a 7/16 fine thread. And so it's a 5/8 socket. Now this is a small Coleman, but my larger Coleman has the same size bolt. Now what's missing on this is the lock nut. Apparently last time I had this thing off, I took the lock nut off for some reason, or lost, or whatever I did. Anyway, it should have a lock nut on it. So I brought one, but we'll put that on in a minute. Now you'll notice I checked this thing before I greased it, because rocking this thing back and forth, if there's a lot of play, it'll start pushing the grease out of that bearing. So I want to get it set and in one position, and then I'll pack the bearings with grease, because we're not rich here, we're not trying to waste grease. I get a long flat-ended punch. Since we're in the middle of the move, I can't find the punch I usually use, but this one will do. Stick it in there. So you got to make sure that it's touching the wedge, but also not hanging up on the threads. You don't want to bung those up. Oh, this is so much easier to do when I'm not filming it. Might get in the way of the camera here. Felt that tighten up. All right, she's tightened up. Got a set nut I'm putting on here, a locking nut. So I'm running this nut all the way down, so I've got plenty of room. And of course it's not enough room, so I've got to put a wrench on it while I tighten it, just to hold her back. There she is. Tighten the nut. Oh God. Oh yeah. Now this is really a pain in the butt with the open end wrench. If you have a, I couldn't put my hands on one before I started this video, but if you can get a 12-point 11/16 socket on this lock nut, it'll make it a lot easier. You can just go over the top of this. Okay, she's tight as I can get her. So now that I've got that tight, got the slop out of the wheel, now it's time to grease it. Oh. You can tell that was loose and bobbing around because it took so much grease to get in there. All right, she's good on top. Now on bottom. Good stuff. All right. All right, so I got the driver's side done. Passenger side, just rinse and repeat, same thing. The thing about the Coleman axle, it also has two giant radial bearings, which basically means wheel bearings. And they're absolutely massive. They're usually about twice the size of a giant wheel bearing out of a big truck with a conventional four-wheel drive axle. Now with those radial bearings, the service manual suggests greasing them at intervals, but then at every 10,000 miles, tearing down the axle and completely cleaning and repacking them. Now, in the service manual, it says there's a way to grease them from the outside. Well, actually, on the inner side of the outside, if that makes sense. This says there's grease fittings accessible, but on neither of my Coleman axles have I seen something like that. So I tend to tear them down, completely clean them, repack them, and reassemble like half that time, like a 5,000 mile interval. So it seems like some extra maintenance, but overall they actually are pretty low maintenance, I find. And the alternative is that those bearings, in this one, the small ones, each of those bearings, it has 4 of them, each of those bearings is at least $800 a piece new, and that's not counting the races. On my larger Coleman, they're like $1,700, $2,000 a bearing, unless you can find new old stock cheap. So using smaller intervals for servicing them really seems like a great idea when you learn that. So anyway, hopefully this helps anybody out there with a Coleman axle. If you have a little bit of slop in the steering, if you're wearing out tires, big thing is a toe in, second thing is a swivel bearings. So yeah, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you don't mind. That really does help me out. I've been working hard to build this channel. Also, I have an online store where I have t-shirts, stickers, and hoodies. Just by displaying any of those, you will catch the fancy of anybody with a superior taste in older trucks. And also, I'm going to mention this between now and the start of October, but on October 3rd, 4th, and 5th, I am planning to be at the 43rd annual Wheels of Time Truck and Tractor Show in Richland Center, Wisconsin. That is my hometown. This is the flyer, and I am planning to have one of the Colemans there, the larger Coleman. And then I'm also planning to have the M5H6 there that's been bobbed down to the four-wheel drive with a flatbed on it. And then I am planning to have one of the two Farmall M's there. So hope to see you there. Come up to me at the show and I will give you a free sticker if you ask for one. In the meantime, stay safe out there, y'all. Keep them on the road, and I will see you in the next video.